Hey everybody, welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Choosing Beggar Reddit video. If you enjoy a daily dose of Reddit stories, hit subscribe and join in on the fun. In our first story, a choosing beggar who waited till the final day of her lawsuit to ask for legal help. Let's jump right in. As a third-year law school student, I work at a legal clinic that provides free legal services for clients who are unable to afford an attorney. As a zero-cost clinic operating solely from the budget provided by our law school, we are very limited in what we can do and rely on students such as myself to help facilitate services. Notably, we can provide legal advice if the issue isn't too complicated, help look at or fill in documents that aren't too extensive, and/or even schedule appointments with volunteer attorneys who provide consultation for free. There is only one supervising attorney at our clinic. In comes Miss Choosing Beggar, who has a very complicated legal issue. She tried to sue someone and her complaint was demurred, aka your complaint has no legal basis. A big part of why her lawsuit failed was because she failed to respond to the demurrer within the time limit. There is a way to possibly get around this by filing a motion to reconsider. You have 10 days to get this motion to reconsider filed. Since I was busy with a client, one of the other law students, who was a less experienced second-year student, was helping her. Our supervising attorney was also busy. While I was helping the other client, I heard the other student struggling a little. He was waiting for our supervising attorney because he didn't know how to proceed. I saw the choosing beggar becoming visibly agitated, and I told our supervising attorney I could handle the work he was doing so he could switch to the choosing beggar, because that choosing beggar seemed to be getting very angry. Apparently, this choosing beggar had come into the clinic to get help drafting her entire motion to reconsider in 30 minutes so that she could go back to the courthouse to get it filed, since today was the last day she could file the motion. We informed her that this kind of work requires a careful study of her case with all the legal issues surrounding it. We told her that half-assing a legal motion in half an hour that would definitely get rejected would also subject us to serious malpractice. When asked about why she didn't have an attorney look at her case before this, she told us that she had rejected multiple attorneys because they wanted to charge her too much and that we needed to fill this out right now. When we told her the clinic closed in about 30 minutes, she said she would wait afterwards as long as it took to finish. Any attempt to tell her we couldn't do it fell on deaf ears. She then pulled out her phone to film us and began yelling in the elementary school library. We have the clinic as a free service for elementary school parents, but see anyone who comes in. She said that everyone in the clinic would be posted on YouTube and asked for the supervising attorney's supervisor. Hint, he's the supervisor. She said she was appalled at the terrible service and loudly declared she was a taxpayer and that this is our taxpayer dollars at work. You know, the free legal clinic she didn't pay for that is completely funded by a privately owned law school which receives zero public funding. She eventually stormed out of the clinic, declaring she would be reporting everyone except for the Asian attorney, me, because I was the one who had noticed she was angry and motioned for our supervising attorney to help. To this day, our supervising attorney has not yet received the bar complaint we've been joking that he would get, and I wonder whether that motion was ever filed or if she simply chose to go home and go back to being lazy. In story number 2, we have a choosing beggar who yells over a burrito at a charity event. Okay, a little backstory here, but going to be vague as I don't want to somehow get the charity or my dad in trouble. My dad is a part of this organization that raises money for children's hospitals. These hospitals are seriously amazing and save so many kids' lives. I even know someone who went to one as a kid. Now, one thing my dad does to help raise money is to cook and sell food at events, with all the money going to the charity. Anyway, This year, for a football game the organization was at, I don't know the whole story or connection, my dad was put in charge of all the food and such to sell. He was severely understaffed, so I agreed to help out, staying up till midnight to prepare food and then getting up at like 5 in the morning to head out and set up. It was like 20 degrees Fahrenheit. I was exhausted, it sucked, but we eventually got it all ready. As soon as we opened the concession stand, we had people coming over and were busy. My dad dealt with taking orders and the money while I buzzed around grabbing the food. It was stressful and hectic, but we had a pretty good system going. Eventually, my mom showed up after her work to help us out for a bit. Now, the most popular item there was my dad's homemade breakfast burritos. Now, not some flipping store-bought frozen stuff. He handmade these the night before. That's why we were up till midnight, and they were big burritos too, like 12 inches, filled with bacon, ham, cheese, eggs, peppers, etc. Only $3, so a good flipping deal. We had people coming back 2, even 3 times to buy another one. Now these always sell the best, so my dad made sure to make a lot of them. Everything was going great. We were tired but doing good until this witch showed up. I'll call her TB for Teen Witch. TB showed up during half game. We were extra rushed during this point as the line was more than 30 people, and she didn't know what she wanted, which is fine, and hemmed and hawed over a cheeseburger or breakfast burrito. No, my dad also had his friends cooking fresh burgers, hot dogs, etc. on a grill at this event. She had my dad go over the ingredients in the breakfast burrito like 10 times, holding up the line in this process, but eventually she bought 2 and left. Thank God it's over, right? Nope, I wish. After halftime and like an hour later, I see her striding off. Now, she gave off a huffy, preppy high school girl vibe, and I sighed. I knew her type in high school, and God, I hated them. So I sat there preparing myself. My dad was busy helping another customer and using the square for a purchase. TB storms up to the window and roughly puts the plate down. I can see she fully ate one of the burritos, but didn't really touch the second one. Before I can literally breathe, she starts talking. This, breakfast burrito is soaking wet. I mean, it's absolutely dripping. Oh, well, I'm sorry about that. Can I, exchange it for a cheeseburger? Let me check. Just hold on. Now, I'm not in charge, so I can't just make these decisions. So I go over to my dad, internally panicking like, SOS, help me. But he's busy with his customer and not really hearing me. I turn to see her glaring daggers at me and tapping her finger. I walk back to her. Sorry, my dad is busy helping another. Come on, I want to flipping exchange it. I'm literally internally crying as I have horrible social anxiety, and being yelled at like this makes me start to panic. I didn't even know what to say. This is for a flipping charity, you witch. The money goes to flipping sick and dying children. You really going to yell at me over a flipping $3 burrito? In my panic and frozen state, my mom returned from the bathroom and swooped in to deal with her. Sure, that's fine. Take this plate and bun over to the grill. Finally. She walks off in a huff over to the grill and is impatient as well, even over there. Eventually, my dad is freed up and we explain what happened. After she left, I went to check the remaining burrito on her plate. It was flipping dry as flip. It was nice and moist on the inside, like a burrito should be, but the shell was still nice and dry. What the flip? My dad was the one that recognized the lady as the one that wasn't sure what she wanted. He thinks she just didn't like the ingredients that were in it and came back with that lie and making a scene to get a cheeseburger instead. But I couldn't believe it. Who comes over to yell at someone selling food for a flipping children's charity? In our final story, a Choosing Beggar printer gets mad when he needs to do his job and resize a file. So I sell 3D digital files online to people online so they can print them on their own. Some people have their own 3D printer, some don't, and will take my files to third-party printers. This specific digital file was a pack that the customer needed to resize to their liking. My software requires that I model things very large so that there is enough detail. Also, if I do scale them down, they won't export without an error and a blank file. So I state they need to be reduced in size to fit properly, but everyone is different and needs the pieces different sizes, so I didn't see any point in making them the proper scale. I've never had this be an issue before because part of the process of 3D printing is to resave the file you get as a 3D printable file. Again, not a big deal for anyone that's used to doing this. A customer buys my files and has been conversing with me all week about proper sizing because I was working on the proper scale for each file for myself as I printed them on my printer. Yesterday, I get a message saying this person got my files from someone and it's ridiculous that I didn't size them properly to begin with. He immediately threatened that he would reach out to his customer and tell them to leave me negative feedback if I didn't resize them. I told him my reasoning behind leaving them large because everyone had to resize them anyways. He should know that already because it's part of his job. Plus, the customer already left me 5 stars for helping him out. He started telling me how bad at my job I was and how I shouldn't be in business if I'm going to flip over my customers so badly. I told him if he gave me a few minutes, I could estimate the correct sizes, resize the parts, and send them to the customer. He wouldn't listen to me and kept sending nasty messages, so I just started mocking him over chat while I was resizing everything. I sent the original customer the files, and the Choosing Beggar got them. Just after I sent them, the original customer sent me his measurements. They are about 30% smaller than they would be for me, so Choosing Beggar will have to resize them again. Choosing Beggar messaged me saying he got them, but I need to be nicer and stop selling junk. I told him he chewed my butt out for nothing because he still has to resize them to fit our mutual customer. I put 2 and 2 together. This guy had the measurements from the customer and realized that he just didn't want to do it himself, which he has to do anyways to print them, and got pissed off at me for no good reason. So when I called that out, he called me a boomer and stopped responding, to which I asked if he knew a good therapist. 15 minutes later, he ordered my cheapest file and left me a negative review out of spite. Then 5 minutes later, bought another and left another negative review. So I googled him and found his business online and called him directly to get him to take the reviews down. He agreed to do it, but is still having trouble taking them down due to site policies. This has been John from /bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to see more of them, then please hit that subscribe button. Join the family. We'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.